fotografía en mi pared, recordando aquel día, besándote, bailando contigo, perreando contigo.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Happy Empowerment Hour. I will have to tell you, I am so excited to have with you all one of my favorite individuals. And I'm excited. I know you're going to view this a little bit later, but I'm actually getting to talk to Ken Downing on such a historical day, which we're going to go into in a little bit. But I have to tell you a little bit about Ken. Ken, many of you have asked me, how did I get involved in the fashion industry? How did this Latina from West Texas get involved? And I have to tell you, the amazing man that is with me in the interview is who made all that happen. He discovered and he found me when I was working at an amazing nonprofit. And he truly just took me under his wing. And I have so much to thank you for, Ken, because you truly changed my life for the better. And I never looked back from this amazing moment. And I'm so glad to finally be able to publicly thank you for you've been so instrumental in my life.
You opened so many doors and so many new ideas for me. It was a mutual love fest when we met, and I was so happy I was able to find a place for you at our former alma mater, Neiman Marcus.
Yes.
Such great times we had there. But as with everything, you know, we move on, but we stayed connected because we're connected in heart and mind and soul. Yes. So you're very sweet to have me with you this afternoon.
Well, thank you, Ken. Well, I will tell you, you know, today was a historical day. I have pearls on under here, and I know you would be fine because it's like the more jewelry I layer, the better it is. But I had to wear these in honor of Kamala Harris because I had this whole other outfit planned. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, the inauguration. I'm putting my suit on to you know, just talk to Ken today because
I'm getting so many texts from all the women I know around the country and around the world. They're all wearing pearls for Kamala. And I actually, that's why I was wearing my sunglasses.
I love it.
They're trimmed in pearls. They're actually fantasy sunglasses from this design duo here in New York. Their designer brand name is Macquarie, and they do all the eyewear for Lady Gaga, Madonna, Elton John, Billy Porter. And being that we had the great national anthem performed by Gaga, who I thought sounded amazing, looked amazing, and it was just such a amazing moment for our country and such great light and life. And to see the first woman of color, South Asian, becoming a vice president. I mean, not only a woman becoming a vice president, but all of the wonderful diversity and brilliance she's going to bring to that office. It's a very emotional moment. And I know for some maybe not as happy as for others, but that's what a democracy is about. And I'm thrilled that we have a tenured individual who can bring their intelligence, ingenuity, and understanding of government into that White House. And I'm thrilled that we have, and that I've lived long enough to see a woman in such a powerful office. And I know it's just it's opening doors to many other women and women of all walks of life that they can achieve their dreams as well. So power to the pearls, girls.
Yes, power to the pearls. We're all wearing our pearls. Not to tell you, Ken, please put me on a wait list for those glasses because knowing you, those are probably going to come out like in 2 years and you already have them now because you're that ahead of the game. So I'd like to put myself on the wait list now, please.
Well, you know, we just completed our atom in the world today. We all want the opportunity kind of through the dreary of winter, and certainly the fact that American Dream is situated here in the middle of New Jersey, just 22 minutes from Manhattan. We're all looking for a play day, a playcation day, a daycation, playcation. Actually, it's the ultimate dream. And so I use a lot of Macquarie's eyewear, and we use the lens as kind of the look into our world for our daycation. So the models are, what you see in the model sunglasses are the Nickelodeon theme park, the DreamWorks water park, Angry Birds mini golf, or if it's the ski hill. Xitlalt, we have the only snow-producing indoor ski hill in North America. And it doesn't matter summer, spring, fall, winter. We blow snow every morning. So there's fresh powder on the hill, and people are waiting in line from the time that it opens, and it's till late at night. It's one of the most popular attractions at American Dream, because no place to ski, but you can
Right.
come amazing ski hill and ski here.
Well, I will tell you this, American Dream, it could have been a better company for you to work with or to be such, to be the chief creative director. And I will say this, as a person that worked with you when we were in corporate PR, one of my favorite things, and I remember talking to you when I said, you're going to be fashion director soon, because we would always change all the press releases that other people would send in, because you always had such a distinctive style. But I will tell you this, you taught me never to settle. And I loved the lessons that you gave me in that. And I mean this with all my heart. I'll never forget. And actually, I have to laugh about this. You taught me with a Windex bottle to never settle, because no matter what fashion show we were doing, what production we were doing, I swear you taught me to spot a smudge on a window or a mirror like a mile away. And it was like, and it didn't matter. We all had our Windex bottles. We are going to make this happen somehow. But it's such an important lesson in life to never settle and to always think of what else can we do. So I just need to make sure.
I love that you talk about, one is because I'm a Virgo, and it's not that I follow my horoscope every day. I'm super tidy, I'm super organized, and I believe we should never settle. And those of us that are in an industry where we give, where we serve, where we entertain, look at the world through the eyes of the customer.
Right.
And not only look at the world through the eyes of how the customer may see it, look at the world in a way that you can make it a better world when a guest, when a customer, when someone's engaged in whatever it is that you're creating. I know when in my career, when people I've asked, how is it? How's it? It's good enough. Good enough isn't good enough. Unless it's spectacular, unless it's just mind-bending, unless it's just mind-blowing, why do it? And so when you settle, good enough is okay, but good enough is never okay with Ken Downing, and it shouldn't be for anybody, because people remember by what you create. Even here at American Dream, I always tell my team and the teams that work with me, it's not about how people feel when they arrive. What do they leave with? What stays with them? What memory did we make with them, with their friends, with their family? How a person feels and their perception of what they've experienced when they've walked out the door is far more lasting than the initial how the emotion when they walk in the door at first. So I want to make memories. I want it to be a memorable moment, and I don't want smudges on glass, on mirrors. I want everything like perfect. Maybe it'll inspire them to go home and use a little Windex around the house too.
One thing's when you teach us not to settle, and we were all talking about, like, I feel Windex company, you should be like the spokesperson for them. And you were talking about how, as a Virgo, this is something that's very important to you. And, and I do have several great Virgo friends. And it's funny, they joke around, they're like, you're a type A Cancer. We're not sure how to fit you into this box. You're nice and nurturing, but things have to be, in certain ways. And I go, you know what? I think some of us can all be trained. And I will say, if you work with Ken Downing, you are trained in a fabulous way to do that and so much more. But I love the message of not settling. And that is something that is so key, that I think that too many people settle, don't you think, in life, even with everything going on?
Well, first I have to say, type A cancers are pretty great. My grandmother, my mother's mother, Nellie Fossa, my grandma Nellie, she was a type A cancer, and she was crazy creative and super. Her ingenuity was unparalleled. I mean, she could put clothes together almost better than I could. She could decorate a room in a way that a professional designer wouldn't even know how to do. So we Virgos like you type A cancers a lot.
Yay.
And I mentioned my grandma Nellie, and certainly, I talk about my mother often.
Yes.
I think that not settling is something that we should all try to live towards, because I think that when we settle, we're not allowing ourselves to be the best selves we can be. And anything that is worth doing just a little bit better. And I
Yes.
think it puts pride in ourselves in what we create. And it
Mm,
doesn't matter if you're baking a cake or if you're doing something hyper creative, or if you are digitally inclined and you work within the world of computers and tech, just do it one step better so you
right.
can be remembered for doing a really amazing job. I think back to being very early in my career. I always wanted to overachieve so
Hmm.
that people would take notice of me.
Right.
And you can certainly have great ideas, you can have great manners, you can be well spoken, and certainly people pay attention to those things even in the
Mhm.
world today. But when you go the extra mile and you take pride in your work, people take pride in you
Right.
and respect the work you deliver. Um, I don't like to drop names, but I think a perfect example of that is the first time that I had worked on a project with Anna Wintour,
Uh-huh.
obviously Vogue magazine, and she had asked me to be part of something she was doing, and she gave me part of this project.
Uh-huh.
And after a couple meetings and taking care of not only what I was asked to do, but even making it more spectacular and more Vogue fashiony as it should have been, she said to me, "You actually do what you say you're going to do." And I thought at first that was kind of an interesting observation because that's just how I live. And I
Right.
said, well, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm not going to disappoint you, and I want to exceed your
Right.
expectations. I don't want to just meet them. And I think because I exceeded her expectations just in my ability to work hard, to deliver on what I said, have very high ethics, and have a great sense of integrity, it's where our relationship started, and why when she needs something, she knows she can rely on me. And not only her,
Right.
but CEOs I've worked with, fashion designers, as you know, we've worked
Yes.
with, creatives. Well, when people know that you're a person of high integrity and high ethics, and just have a really strong work ethic,
Right.
they look to you because they know you're going to deliver.
Right. No, definitely. And I will tell you this, it's interesting because I think a lot of people put creatives, and I would put both of us in that creative personality in a box, and they don't think that we can follow through all the way. And I will say that when I was in meetings with you, it was great. I have no idea when you sleep because I swear I will send you a text and I have a response immediately. And I know you're getting probably like 500 in a minute. And I'm going, how does he do it? So I'm curious, Ken, how do you get it all done? Because many of us are still trying to keep up with you. And I might be 5'8", and I know you're 6'2", and I would keep up with you in the airport, but I'm really trying to keep up with you in communication. So give us a little tidbit. What do you do?
I'm a two phone individual.
Okay,
So
yeah,
I always have a work phone and I always have a personal phone.
right,
And I do this because I can maneuver two phones at one time.
right,
So I can be on a Zoom call while I'm still returning emails. I
right,
can keep up with individuals that need information from me in real time.
right,
I think that wasted time is not good time.
right,
And you know, I really don't like to sleep. When I sleep, I'm kind of like, to me, it's like re-energizing my battery.
right.
But when I'm awake, and part of that, I mean, sleep quality. I love what I do,
Yes,
as
you
you love what you
do.
do, and when you love what you do, it's not always work. I mean,
Right,
not every day is perfect, and sometimes,
right.
but for the most part, when you're passionate about what you do, you love what you do. It makes it easy to be able to accomplish all the things you need to accomplish during the day. And I
What I loved about Ken and working with him is you always had diversity at the forefront of everything you did. And that, I want you to know, was so empowering to work with somebody who was that step ahead and making sure whatever he touched on a platform a, to a fashion show or anything is, where is the angle and is everyone included? And I know that's something that you and I both share, but you truly live that way. And so when I found out that you were going to go work for a company, it's called American Dreams. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like the perfect, Ken is like perfect for this role and all that you're doing. So I'm curious, how was that transition for you? Was it a difficult decision for you to make, or were you just ready to jump in?
It's interesting, and thank you for your comments about diversity.
Mm,
I think that there's so many catchwords today in the world,
right,
and we have to talk about diversity,
right,
but more than talking about it, we have to practice it.
right,
And beyond practicing it, it should just be a way of life.
right.
And as you know, very early in my life, I mean, I've kind of worked in fashion forever,
Mm.
and I modeled at a very young age, and realized I was better telling people what to do than people telling me what to do. But modeling in the 80s, it's funny when they talk about, oh, there's no diversity on the runway and it had to change. There was probably more diversity in the 80s because that was kind of the mindset of that
Right,
moment. And it's certainly we've come light years in the last
right.
couple of few years on the runways of the world, but I've never seen the world through a common lens. And I've
Mhm.
always found beauty where beauty might not necessarily exist. And I've never been necessarily enamored with beauty that's just kind of where everybody thinks, oh, everybody agrees she's pretty. I'm looking for that unusual beauty that
Right,
actually shows the inside on the outside,
right,
and something that expresses an individual's beauty beyond just what is traditional beauty.
right.
And I always liked the girls with the crazy nose or the eyes that were a little bit one way or the other. The boy that had no hair, the boy with long hair, mixed blood, because it was always just so much more
Mm,
exotic to me. And diversity in art, and diversity in music, and diversity in food. And I've always believed that you have to push the boundaries
mhm.
so that people can see, experience, hear, taste, smell, feel more than just their comfort zone.
Right.
So that's why I've always kind of had this lens for the unique and the
Mhm.
unexpected. And which is why I was so intrigued with what was happening here at American Dream. And when I met the CEO, Don Gramasian, people are like, why would you leave a job that you were going to fashion shows? Well, at the end of the day, I was one of the first voices to call out what is the validity of a fashion show as we go
Right,
forward in the world of tech, where I'm sitting watching clothes that aren't going to show up for 6 months, and while the world of digital and tech are like pushing it out into the stratosphere in a matter of seconds, how are we going to sustain an industry where there's so much visual stimulation, but then the actual satisfaction of
right.
purchasing or owning, you have to wait 6 months. I mean, nobody has that ability to
Mm,
hang on that long, because
yeah,
then you want the next thing that's coming.
right.
I felt that as much as I love the fashion industry, and I still do, I felt there were too many voices that did not realize that we really had to pivot and
Mhm.
create a new model, a new
Right,
business model, a new digital model, a new visual model of how we were going to storytell
right.
this glamorous industry that was a little bit more in real time. And so it had weighed on my mind. And I was with Neiman Marcus 28 years.
Right,
People don't stay at companies for long periods of time like this anymore. I mean, I certainly grew up through the ranks, first in the Beverly Hills store, and
right.
the various positions I had before I became the senior vice president, fashion director. But I knew for myself, I had done that role. I was told I was very good at it.
You
People
were.
call me
I can
a
attest
fashion
to it.
icon, which makes me feel like
Yes.
I'm ancient. And I thought, Ken Downing, you need to take your voice and your ideas and all of the collective talents and skill set
Mhm.
that you have accumulated over the years, and find a role where you can express them all at one time.
Right.
So I came to American Dream, and because a lot of people, oh, you work for a mall. Well, we're not a mall.
Right.
I like to say we took the M out of mall and we made it an all. It's
And
an
all.
all
I
for
love it.
everyone. And,
Mhm.
the traditional shopping center, shopping mall, it's 80+% retail stores, 20 or less percent entertainment. And it could be a
Mhm.
merry-go-round or, movie theaters, what have you. But we're entirely different. We're a futurist experience. We're
Mhm.
55% and growing even more and more entertainment, 45% retail, in a 3.3 million square foot property that is transformable at any given time. So my ice rink can be a setting for fashion shows, or my DreamWorks water park with the largest indoor wave pool can have a floating stage for bands or fashion shows or talk series with influencers. We can do photo shoots in the Nickelodeon theme park. We can have concerts in the Nickelodeon theme park. So we have the ability to reinvent ourselves as the taste and the trends and the ideas of our guests are changing. Unfortunately, the shopping mall has kind of gotten a bit of a bad rap. Originally in the early 50s or late 50s, early 60s, they were a gathering place in communities. That's why the shopping mall was kind of created. It was to be a gathering place for communities to come together. And many of them had like amazing architecture. They had amazing art collections within them. Over time, they've kind of become a dreary stack of boxes, poorly lit with just a bunch of, stores in them. And we are not just a stack of boxes that is dreary and unhappy. We are a bold, bright, cinematic property. I mean, everywhere you turn, there is an imaginative, unexpected moment waiting for you. And we're still not finished. We're constantly creating, we're constantly adding to our repertoire of experiences. I'm working on an experience right now. I can't go into great detail, but it's unlike any experience that anyone has ever created. And I'm having the best time doing it. You're kind of part movie director, you're part theme park, architect. You're a magic maker. People have referred to me as the Wizard of Oz and Willy Wonka, and I guess that's kind of what my role is a little bit. And then as well, coming from Neiman Marcus, I like to elevate it. It doesn't matter your walk of life or your taste level. Everybody wants to be blown away, and they want the superlative experience that they remember forever, especially in the world of Instagram and TikTok and everything else people are engaged with. We are an Instagram, TikTok heaven because just color, fun, movement, and chaos everywhere, and we're all over Instagram. When I started, we had a couple thousand followers. It was construction workers, and building this epicenter. And now we're really, people love coming. They love coming to visit us. They come back multiple times. But I felt it was important. What is the future of retail? What does the future home of fashion look like? And it looks like American Dream. And what's great about it is we're building a brand. We're in our infancy, but unlike a lot of people who build brands, we're not a stagnant brand. We're growing. We're ever changing. We have a logo, but we change colors with the seasons. We change colors with emotion. We give people a reason to come back and see what crazy, audacious thing we've decided to do in the middle of our property. So it's curiosity is important to me, and you know this, Xitlalt. So I'm very big on continuing the curiosity of the guest, the curiosity of the customer. When you arrive, you never see the same thing twice. So we're in a constant state of reinvention through the displays, through our garden, and that kind of thing. So as I was pivoting the world of big retail. And interestingly, everyone talks about sustainability. This is one of the largest reuse projects in America. It was originally built to be a mall that kind of dissipated in 2008 before it opened because its financial funding went away. And it sat empty for a while, and it could have hit a wrecking ball. But the family that I work for and ownership, they took this kind of relic of a building and they reinvented it. And we have brought new life, new ideas, and this idea of kind of over-the-top experience to so many here on the East Coast, around the country. And we're looking forward when this nasty thing we call COVID is no longer part of our daily conversation. We'll be welcoming guests from all over the world.
No, definitely. And I will tell you this, just like myself in opening a company, none of us expected COVID. It happened. What I love about is your natural curiosity of, okay, we're still going to make this work. how are we going to make this work? And I just think that it's in a matter of perspective, because I think a lot of people can sit back and say, oh my gosh, this is happening. And of course, is the world perfect right now? No, but there's always hope and light and something you can do to get that going. So I'm curious, was it difficult with your team to get them? Because knowing Ken and working with you before, there's always going to be a light and something you can do. Nobody's going to sit on their laurels and that's a good thing. So
Well,
curious,
I
how
will
was
tell you,
that?
Lolly, it was quite a feat.
Yeah,
Being situated here in New Jersey and our close proximity to Manhattan, our COVID protocols are so exacting. I
right,
was sitting with our architects measuring out square footage to ensure that we knew the capacity of each one of our parks, the
right,
capacity of our dining halls when they could open again,
right,
the capacity of our restrooms so
right.
that it could be posted so that people could feel not only safe, but comfortable and safe when they
Mhm,
come to the property. And safe as guests, and also for our team who
right,
works here so that they would feel safe being on property as well. And that was through digital messaging, traditional messaging, multiple advertising campaigns that never saw the light of day because the opening date kept moving forward,
right,
kept moving forward, kept moving forward. And just the general atmosphere of our team when we brought them back to work again, how they welcomed people,
right.
how we were able to smile with our eyes because we all wear a mask on property. How,
Right,
how, how do you give a genuine hug virtually or
right,
without touching someone so people know that you do care, that they're important to you,
mhm,
because a lot gets lost behind the mask. But
right.
it's necessary to keep us all healthy, keep us all safe, and let our guests know that we're doing everything we can. My housekeeping staff, we have a lot of Windex here at the property, you can imagine.
Uh-huh.
We are cleaning, cleaning, cleaning all the time, even within our roller coasters and our rides. Each time the guest gets out,
Again,
disinfected before the next guest gets in. So protocols were rigorous and continue
right.
to be rigorous, messaging on point with just a little hint of fun just in color. You
Of
know, it's a
course.
serious message, but it had to be a message that caught people's attention and had a little high design to it. So you wanted to read, so you
Right.
wanted to pay attention, and that you wanted to follow what we were asking them to do.
No, that's wonderful. And I'm so glad to hear that. And on that note, Ken, I'm curious. You are truly, and when I use the word a fashion icon, I don't mean it from being old, okay? And I will use a term. You are someone that has launched so many careers. You teach us how to think outside the box, how to find beauty in almost everything, which is a wonderful trait that you have. But I'm curious, where do you get your inspiration? Where do you get your creative inspiration?
You know, I'm inspired by so many things. I mean, certainly nature has always been an inspiration for me. I mean, certainly I spent most of when I was back in Manhattan, I spent most of COVID um, in Central Park or just
Mm.
walking down the streets of Manhattan. In fact, my thighs and legs have gotten so big from walking, I can barely get some of my skinny pants on.
I could never see you big. So that's like,
No,
just
I'm telling you, I walk 8, 10 miles
yeah.
on a Saturday and 8 or 10 miles on a Sunday. And there's sometimes we're so busy looking down or looking forward, we don't look up. And what you can see sitting nestled in a tree, what you can see on the side of a building is architecture. I mean, certainly, as you know, art is very important to me, being not
Yeah.
only a collector myself for my homes, but I'm always inspired by artists. I'm always inspired by the world of art. Um, Beautiful traditional old world art to the most edgy of new emerging talent that I'm coming across that I'm either meeting one on one or meeting in galleries. Music inspires me. I'm inspired by other designers, be it shelter interiors, be it interiors that are in public spaces. Anything that piques my imagination, I have to know more about. It's why I don't like to drive, because I would see a beautiful tree on the side of the road and I would like probably drive into it when I was trying to look at it. So I've got a little bit of magpie in me. I'm easily distracted. Um, so inspiration comes from everywhere. And I think that any great creative knows that.
Right.
Um, And I think that we all look for inspiration in unexpected places as well. So, and more than ever, I'm also a huge collector of books, and no one loves a big coffee table book as well as some great book to read.
Right.
But I really kind of re-engaged with a lot of my old design books with great interior designers from the past. Um, Looking at fashion design books that I hadn't cracked open in, probably 10, 15 years. I spent time re-engaged looking at old Tom Ford Gucci collections with
Right.
all of this 90s obsession right now.
Yeah.
And it's funny, some things are as good as I remember them, and some things I'm like, can't believe I was really all wound up about that.
Yeah.
But it's,
Yeah.
I love the past as much as I like
Yes.
the future. So COVID has kind of given me a recharge to be able to kind of go back and look at things that I had loved at one time, and seeing if there's relevance and something I should be kind of pushing forward and moving forward.
And
So,
moving beyond. So I'm curious, what fashion thing did you move beyond?
it's very little that I actually move beyond,
Uh-huh.
especially if I'm doing a fashion show. I love a retro
Right.
moment. Um, what if I really moved beyond? I'm not sure. I have to say, even when I was home, and I'm still working remotely a couple days a week, I was never in track pants.
Right.
The only pair of
Yeah.
track pants I think I actually have a couple pair of like fashion track pants, and then I have a pair of red sequin track pants from Neiman for black tie, but they're like super, super glam. I always felt if I had to be on camera with my other teammates, with other C-suite individuals, I had to look half decent. I mean, I
Right.
had to be able to get up. I got to be shaved, showered. I was ready for work. Otherwise, I think it was just too easy to become a little slovenly or something.
Right.
So I was always, I got up like I was good, got up and prepared as if I was going to work, even though I was going no further than a screen on a phone or my computer. So.
It's funny that you say that because just recently I hosted one of our actors that we work with, Mark Thatcher from Mexico, and Vince, who's one of my partners in Los Angeles, and in us working with diverse Latinx talent. But in that they were coming and we're going to have a creative session for like a week all together. And I realized I only had really, besides Lululemon like yoga wear, I literally had like 2 pairs of like loungewear pants and that's it. And I was going, well, but it's just because I like to dress up. I mean, hello, I'm your type A Cancer. So it's just one of those things that I take pride in. But I do remember that when COVID hit, the first time I really blow dried my hair to do it myself, to do one of these shows, I said, I felt like me again. Like it was all coming back. So I agree with you on that statement. And I have to tell you, one of my favorite memories with you was traveling when it was you, Sandy Marple, and Quentin Pell were at the airport. And we would just sit there and inadvertently be like 1 through 10, analyzing the outfits walking by to see, what was
Whenever I would blame myself if somebody had something on that didn't look so great on them. I'm like, that is my fault. I told them.
It was just so much fun because again, we were always looking at getting inspired by everyone around us. But no, it wasn't your fault.
How other people dressed.
Right.
The funny thing about fashion, it is a super democratic business.
Yeah.
And it's a super democratic ability to express yourself.
Right.
What most people don't really understand, it's not that they don't understand clothes, and a lot of people make an effort at how they put themselves together. I think there's so much more freedom to style yourself in an individual way in the last 10 plus years more than ever. A lot of people just don't understand fit, and that's when they get themselves in trouble.
Right.
Too big or too small.
Right.
It's kind of like the 3 bears. You got to kind of get somewhere right in between. And I see people that their clothes don't fit them well, and that's when they start to run off track.
Right.
But
good alterations.
Doesn't matter how much money
fashion
you spend.
show.
Just make sure your clothes fit, because listen, nobody loves an H&M, a Uniqlo, a Primark, a Zara more than I do, mixed back to Saint Laurent or Gucci or something else. So, I think it's always been about the mix. It always will be. Even before people started marketing the idea of wearing high, low, or mixing clothes together. But just make sure your clothes fit right. That's all I ask.
Right. Exactly. Well, and it's interesting because with the right fit, everything else just falls into place in just the right way. And
Literally,
literally,
literally, your clothes
literally,
fit good, they fall right off the body. So
literally. And I know we're gonna have to let you go in a little bit, Ken, but I have to tell you. So you've always been known for your Kenisms and these amazing one-liners. Everything from "Yes, I'm wearing my arm candy today in your honor." Was I tell you, which I wear all the time. It's so funny because before I knew Ken, there's Maria Felix, who I used to follow as a child, as an amazing actress from Mexico, and she also always had the arm candy party. So every time you do your arm candy, I always say, "Oh, Maria Felix, yes, that's something I love." But I have a question. What is your slogan of the moment at this time? Because I'm sure you've come up with something recently that is just like, this is the sentence that's going to get you through.
actually, it's funny, and I did not know you were going to ask me this, but what I say often is, even because of COVID, we can still all be kind, and I feel that the mask does not mean that you have to ignore people,
Right,
that you can't say good morning, as I had said earlier, that you can't smile with your eyes.
right,
And I think that some people are using that mask as a complete mask to
right,
close themselves off from society.
right.
And we more than ever need to be kind and gentle to one another. And we're in fashion. I mean, we
Yeah.
air kiss our lives away. So actually, I do double elbows
Oh,
because to
that's a good
me,
one. Yeah.
it's more like air kissing, and I have to say, I miss the hugs.
Yeah.
I miss air kissing. I miss that we are in an industry of passionate people who love to share our adoration for one another and greeting each other. But even because of COVID, we can still be kind. Just because you say good mornings through a mask doesn't mean that something horrible is going to happen to the other person. Just acknowledge people,
Yeah.
because I think you can still show humanity while you're doing the right thing by wearing a mask to keep yourself safe and someone else safe as well.
No, definitely. And what a great thing to say. It's about being kind because I agree with you. I think there's so many things that could be healed in our world if we're all kinder to each other in that aspect. One other question I have for you is, I love to help designers in Latin America as much as possible. So just Tao, who I'm wearing today, that I got to meet at the Latin American Fashion Summit. But I'm curious from your perspective, because with the industry changing, what advice would you give an emerging designer now in something that they should either focus on or change within themselves as they're getting into the business to grow?
I think it's such an interesting time for
Yeah,
new talent, emerging talent, for young brands. And when I say young, I don't mean by age, but
right.
just for brands in their infancy that are developing themselves.
Right.
Though this is something I've kind of always believed, but I believe it's more important than ever. I believe that sustainability and
Mhm.
what are you creating, where are you creating it, and what are you creating it out of means more than ever before. It separates you from all the big brands that might not be paying as much attention to
Right.
that. And the importance of integrity within your brand and authenticity within your brand. And not only in yourself, because I think
Right.
a high level of integrity is important to the leader of a brand, but your storytelling. You
Right.
know, um, Tell an authentic story, tell an honest story, and look at the marketplace. This is something that I've always believed. What's missing? What do people want? Are
Mhm.
you filling a niche, or are you just making clothes for the sake of satisfying your own creative outlet? And I think that we're in a time where hyper creativity is super important,
Mhm.
but we don't need stuff for the reason of stuff.
Right.
So find your lane,
Right.
find your customer, go out and meet your customer face to face, mask to mask,
Right.
and
Masterminds.
really bring us something new. Bring
Right.
something new that brings comfort, that brings your story, and makes people really pay attention. I've always been a storyteller
Yeah.
as a kid, as a teen, a young adult, and now no longer a young adult. But storytelling's
You still
important.
look young.
But there's people want to know. They want to know why the clothes look the way they look. How should I be wearing them? Who's making them? Are you good to the people that work for you? These things matter today. I think they should have always mattered, but I believe they matter more now than ever with everything that we've just experienced in the world. So,
Right.
you know, make it with your heart and soul, and people with heart and soul will come in and they will recognize you and buy your goods and celebrate you as a talent.
No, definitely. And I love what you're saying about that because I think that in where the world is right now and what COVID has taught us is that your energy is everywhere and your energy is what dictates what either comes to you or doesn't come to you at times. And I think it's been such a self-reflective time for us to look at how are we treating Mother Nature? How are we treating the people that we're working with? And how are we really evolving as a society? And at my hope, personal hope, is that everybody is woken up to this and now that we're hopefully with the vaccine, everything going to get to the other side of COVID, so we can all finally give hugs, real hugs again, but that it becomes where we really look within ourselves to say, but did I learn it? And am I embodying what I learned, during this time frame?
It's important that we're mindful and reflective of what we've just gone through for almost the last year.
Right.
And when we do start to see things normalizing and we if we find ourselves back into a somewhat normal cadence of what we've come out
Right.
of, let's not forget what got us here and the lessons learned. And
Right.
I think a slower life might not be a bad thing. I've
Right.
never really lived a slow life, but
I was
you know
going
what
to
I
say,
mean?
did I
I
just
just
hear
think
that
that
from Ken
we,
Downing?
we, we, we need to really think about
Yeah.
what are we doing? Are we doing it for the right reasons? Are we doing it for the right people? And all of our actions have consequence. And so let's make good decisions. Let's do good things and let's spread good things so that good people can enjoy it, right? What is next?
Yes.
I don't know. I'm so busy doing it. I don't even realize I'm in it.
I love that. That is so good.
You know, at the moment, I'm just trying to get through to the other side of COVID. I feel like I'm climbing the highest mountain in the world, and I like every time I feel like we're getting to the peak, then the summit keeps getting higher and higher. I have to say that the ability to create these experiences that can touch the hearts of the young and the young at heart are something I'm really loving doing, as well as creating this 3.3 million square foot property and designing stores and restaurants and all the things I'm doing.
Mm.
Um, I'm What's next is a couple of crazy over the top Ken Downing experiences that you'll be hearing about the next few months.
Mm.
And who knows? And I certainly have to get back up to Detroit. I haven't been to my house in Detroit since COVID. I need to get my grand dam, up and functioning once and for all. So
I am so excited about that project. I will
I
tell you this.
do. I feel like every time I make some headway on it, then something else comes along. But Michigan's had its own issues with COVID and things, and I've
Mm.
certainly decreased the amount of air travel I take just because I feel it's the right thing to do, and
Right.
I'm only traveling if it's really really necessary. So. Yeah, just kind of look for a little bit more Ken Downing experience, over the top experience that will be announced in the next few several months.
Well, that's exciting. I have a question for you. If someone would like to follow what American Dreams is doing and what you're doing or these experiences, where can they go to find out more information?
Well, for one, if you want to see what Ken Downing is up to, go to Ken Downing Official, my Instagram page,
Yeah.
because my life is an open book. It's all there. That or you can Google me.
Right.
And for American Dream, so much of what we're doing at American Dream is at American Dream, our Instagram page, and then certainly on YouTube and, at americandream.com. But I really encourage you, if you love what you're hearing, go see our Instagram page. It tells an amazing story of who we are, what we are, and we will be 17,000 employees when the entire property is complete. We are a community in and of itself. We're a city within a city.
Yeah.
I have Hermes to H Mart. I have Saks Fifth Avenue to Walgreens drugstore.
Wow.
I have everything from grab and go burgers to fine dining. We are a city, and whatever your taste love, interest, it's here at American Dream. You'll find something.
That-
It's we are not just one thing, we are everything. And so come find your everything where it all is. That's my line for the day. Come find your everything where it all is.
Oh, there it is. And I knew we were going to end with something fabulous like that from Ken Downey. Come find your everything. That's where it all is. I love that. Well, I will tell you this, Ken. I cannot wait till I can truly travel, a little bit more safely there to New Jersey to go visit you at American Dreams, because you truly, when you say experiences, I love to host, and all my friends know I love to host. But I know how much I learned from you and from Sandy in hosting. I can only imagine what you're doing there. And I will say through Instagram, which I've been following, I loved what you all installed for the holidays. But I love how you are consistently reinventing and doing things. So everyone, if I know I asked Ken where he goes to get creative inspiration, I will tell you this. If you want to get creative inspiration, be sure to be following his Instagram account. Follow American Dreams, because you will truly be inspired and learn something. And for right now, travel there virtually until you can go there in person. If you can't go there in person, go there with a fabulous mask. And on a final note, Ken, how many masks do you own? And is there a wardrobe of masks?
I probably own like 12, 15.
Yeah.
It's funny. My mother used to tell me this, I think she had 2 or 3 pairs of white gloves. This when women, and every night she'd wash out and rinse out 1 pair of gloves and hang them to dry. And so I'm always washing out my mask and then hanging it to dry and finally. So I have a little clothesline in my apartment of all my drying masks.
I love it. That is so funny. It's so funny because I have a box of them, of the clean ones that I bring out, after I've been washing them. But that's a great idea, the whole clothing line for the little mask. I love it.
You know what I do with them? I love Atelier fragrances, Atelier cologne.
Yeah.
And Orange Sanguine is one of my favorites. So I do just a little pass over of a nice, fresh fragrance. And Orange Sanguine is very fragrant, is very citrusy. And so when you put it on, you don't feel like you're just, because you're a little lift.
Yeah. It gives you a lift. I love that insider Ken Downey tip. I'm going to be spraying
a little scenting of the mask when you put it. Just makes your morning go a little bit better.
Oh, it does. Definitely. Well, Ken, thank you so much. I have loved chatting with you. I hope that we get to chat again in the near future, because I will tell you this, your energy, what you bring to the world, you truly make the world a fun, energetic, amazing experience that those of us are lucky to have had those experiences with you can talk about them for years. So just thank you for you being you, because you truly make this world a better place. And I love you to death. You are.
Anytime you want to chat, you let me know. And sending love back to you. Virtual hugs. Tons of kisses.
Yes.
And let's catch up again.
Definitely. Well, thank you, everyone. Well, everyone, thank you again for joining us on the Happy Empowerment Hour here on Xitlalt Inc. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube. And you never know what fabulous friend of mine you're going to meet, just like the amazing Ken Downey. Bye, everyone.